Hello, this is Dr. Caddell, and this is a short video to hopefully get you started in the hybrid Chem102 course this summer using Canvas. It's mostly how to get around in Canvas the way I have it set up. The first thing is getting to Canvas if you haven't done it before. The easiest way probably is just to go to the MJC website, www.mjc.edu, and in the top right-hand corner, click on Online Classes. That'll bring you to the Canvas website, modesto.instructure.com. And your username will be your W number. And if you've never used Canvas through MJC before, just click on Forgot Password and check your student email. Canvas will send you a link to set your password. If you've used it before, it's the same password as before. All right, so once you've logged into Canvas, you might have more than one course available to you. Just click on My Course, Chem102, and it should take you to a home page. It looks something like this. The primary link that you'll be using will be the modules. This is mostly how you're going to get around in Canvas for the way I have it set up anyway. So go ahead and click on modules. And when you go there, each of these headings is a module, like the syllabus module, the laboratories module, and then everything after that is our lecture modules, topics. They go to chapters in the textbook, a textbook. So let's look at the syllabus module first. I have the syllabus there, an exam and lab schedule, and I just have a link to a periodic table, the same one that I use on my exam, so you can get used to it. So if you click on, say, the syllabus link, and then click again where it says open, it opens up a PDF of the syllabus. I'll go through this syllabus in more detail the first time we meet in class, but it's always there, and it always has, this kind of information that you might need. The next link in the syllabus module will be the exam and lab schedule. This is real important. This is how you'll know each week if there's an exam, and if so, what material it covers, and which lab we'll be doing each week. So let's say your first meeting was May 17th. So if you're on the Wednesday lab, that's when it is. Of course, there's no exam, and what we're doing in the lab is I'm going to introduce the lab, talk about safety, and you guys are going to check into the lockers, and that's it. The next week, okay, there's an exam already, and it's on solutions, and I'll tell you how to get ready for that. So you want to get started as soon as you can. And the lab will be called TLC and volatility. And I'll talk about labs a little more in just a moment. And it goes through the semester like that. So always come here and check, make sure you know when we have an exam, what it's on, and what lab we're doing that week. All right, so there's that. Like I said, there's a periodic table. Now I'll come back to the labs, the laboratory module in a moment. Let's go look at the lecture modules. Each of these topics, like I said, corresponds basically to a chapter in a textbook, and they're in order. The first one is called Solutions. That's the topic. And within the Solutions module, there's a series of YouTube videos. That's what the first link is, where it says Solution Composition. If you click on this, it takes you to, and you open it, it takes you to a YouTube video that I made. And, this is the lecture for that topic. So let me pause this. So go ahead, and so what you do is you go in order, you watch the video, take really good notes, okay, and then go back. And beneath it, with the same name, there's always the same name, there's a quiz. This is an online quiz. Click on that. And you always have 2 attempts. It's 1 question, multiple choice, 2 attempts. If you miss it on the first attempt, I recommend you not to just, go back right away and take it unless you know absolutely, what the answer is. You can ask me, I'll help you. Talk to other students, if you have a tutor or anything like that. I don't care. Just basically I want you to know the material and take the quiz. Everybody should get all the points for the quizzes. So something like this. Take the quiz, and so this is the first quiz. Tells you what to do. You do the calculation, get the answer, click on the box, and click Submit Quiz. I'm not going to take it right now. And you just go through this, each of the modules in that order. Video, quiz, until you get to the end. And the very last link is the homework for that module. Let's click on that. And that takes you to a PDF file with some homework problems. In this case, there's only 14 of them. And I have the answer in parentheses after each question. These are very, very important. I can't emphasize how important these are, because these homework problems are what I really strongly base my exams on, as in addition to the quizzes. So the exams come from the homework, which is right here, from the quizzes, and from any examples that I work out in the videos, the lectures. So you really want to get to the, okay, so as you're going through this process, video quiz, you want to get to the homework problems as soon as you can, and then spend as much time as you can. Rework those multiple times. That's the best way that you can do well on the exams. And if you go, and then, so then the next module is kinetics, and it works the same way. And there's a homework, and on and on. Now, if we go back up to the exam and lab schedule, you notice that each of these exams is just on one module, except for the very last one. These are pretty light modules, so I put them both together. And so the first exam it sums up, it's just the second week of class, right? But it's only on one topic, solutions. And like I said, it'll be 10 to 15 questions, multiple choice. And the questions come, they're not the same numbers or anything, but they're very strongly related to the homework problems and maybe some quiz problems and examples that I work in the lectures. So you'll need, I'll talk about this the first day of class, but you'll need a Scantron 815 for each of these exams. We'll take these exams during the first 30 minutes of lab each day that we have an exam scheduled, and then we'll do the lab after that. So the second week of class, we'll come in right away, and first thing we'll do is, right away, take the first exam, 30 minutes, and then, I'll talk a little bit and we'll do the lab. So the labs, let's go back to the laboratory module. Each of these is a procedure that I have written for each of these labs. The first one we're going to do is called TLC and volatility. If you click on that and then click on it again, it takes you to a PDF. And they're all pretty much set up like this. Okay, this is for Matt, the guy who runs the stockroom, just to let him know the kind of materials that he'll need to put out for you guys, and the chemicals also. I will talk about waste disposal and safety in person before each lab also. But here I have a procedure that I've written out. And I'll talk about your procedure at the first class meeting. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to read this and write your own procedure in either outline or flowchart format only. I've written this in paragraph format. You need to take this, put it in your own words, and write a procedure either in outline or flowchart format. And you get it by going through and reading this. And you have to have that written out, typed up, and printed out, and bring with you to each lab, or else you're not allowed to do the lab if you don't have that with you when you come in. The calculations, this tells you what calculations you have to do when you finish and you take the lab home, the data that you've gotten home, and it tells you what calculations to do to finish it up and what I want in the conclusion. So it's all right there. And what you're going to do is, when it's due or when you're ready to turn it in, you're going to type that up on your computer. Make sure you put all your equations, calculations, type those up too. It's not acceptable for you to write it out by hand and then take a picture of it and scan it in or something like that. It has to be typed up, and use your equation editor, whatever program you use. When you're ready anyway, just click Submit Assignment. It'll ask you where on your computer it is and find it and upload it. You'll know when a lab is due because it has the due dates right here. The first one is due May 31st. And this is not the day that we're doing the lab. This is the day that it's due. You can find out what day we're doing the lab by looking at the schedule right here. And so that's pretty much how the class works. We come in each week, most of the time, take an exam on a module. First 30 minutes, I'll talk a little bit, then you'll do the experiment, get your data, go home, write it up, turn it in. Just go through the semester like that. So hopefully this will at least get you started. Like I said, I'll talk about how everything's run in more detail, the syllabus and all that stuff on our first class meeting. I'll see you then. Bye.